and I think Mum's there as well. I was going to say, I don't know why it didn't run straight back into the hole. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to dive around to the other side so we can hopefully get a nicer view of Mum and pup together. How precious is that, hey? Yes, we can see you. Oh, and there's another adult just down to the right there. I can see her. There she is lying down. Good afternoon, Jack from Virginia. Welcome on board. Great to hear from you. And I'm wanting to know if our lucky socks. Unfortunately, my dog ate my socks. Little Jack Russell. Socks were getting holes in them, so I gave them to him. I'm hoping you can see. Mum there. I'm gonna see if we can't get a better view. But I think where she is at the moment, it's quite difficult to get another view from around the corner. There's baby settling down there. Let's see if we can roll back a little bit. The baby's settled. Nope. Okay, I'm just going to go around a little bit further and just see if we can't get a clear view from that side. So yeah, all my lucky socks are no longer there. My little Jackie belong to him now. I'll have to get some new ones. Oh, we might be lucky. See it through a little bit clearer. Hello, lady. Oh, she's got a notch on her right ear and a notch on the top of the left, so she should be fairly easy to recognise in future. So I think there was a little bit of a debate this morning as to whether the slightly older cub was the one that Hayden saw. But it's just a little bit too big for it to be Hayden's, because I think Hayden saw, and Peter I think saw one in October, November. I don't know if Hayden's was the same. But it was about the same size as the pup that we saw just now, which would be about a month old. And they do grow fairly quickly, not as quickly as herbivores do, but it certainly would be a lot larger than this little pup. But the other adult is just too big for it to be a 4-month-old cub as well. So I think this is a different mother, but I think the adult or sub-adult does belong to this mother, but probably about a 3-4-year-old. Okay, I think unfortunately we're not getting a great view of the little pup here. It looks like pup is resting. So now I'll come back to where we first started. But this morning we had a nice view where we just were. They've just moved over slightly. So we'll just try this, just to get a nice view of you. But also I don't want to move around too much and disturb them too much. But that was very cool. You see, she didn't even lift up her head then. Let's say it. I think this one is the sub-adult, or a sub-adult. When we saw them this morning, you couldn't really see now, but the older female, the fur isn't as thick as this individual. As you can see, it's still got quite thick fur on its body. And as they get older, that fur seems to thin out a little bit, and the adults seem to get paler with age as well. You can see the spots on this one nice and clearly. Don't worry, it's going to cool off a little bit now. I often wonder what it's like to have a body full of fur in this kind of heat. It can't be comfortable. And you can see the face is nice and clean as well, no notches in the ears, which also suggests it's a fairly young animal. As they get older, hyenas would have acquired some battle scars across the nose and on the ears, as you saw with the other female. Okay, so I think I will try and pull around to the other side where we got a better view of her with the pup, but I think I'm going to have to reverse because this little one's on the road, so we don't disturb it. Is there a place I can maybe just swing back into there?
I could do it right here if you go for a little bit.
Okay, cool, let's try that then. Nice and stretched out. Actually, I've got a lot of branches in the way there. And also just reverse all the way around. Try that. Just thinking, my sock excuse was like my homework excuse. Sorry, sir, my dog ate the homework. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, I did acquire a dog after a year away from WildEarth. So a little Jack Russell called Tucker, and he thinks he's Jock of the Bushveld, let's just put it that way. And he's won me against leopard on two occasions. Part of a lion until she comes up to the problem and runs behind me going, "Mum, you deal with it." Okay. We'll just keep going. See if we can get another view of this little pup, please. We have feet. Stay here just because the pup might just wake up again. Might just bounce on Mum. just went to sleep just in the hole there. But they're very happy, they're very chilled. So they don't feel threatened by us. But unless a herd of elephants comes through, or maybe other carnivores come through and threaten the pup, they might move on. But it's not really known how long they do utilise the same den for. It could be a couple of months, it could be several months. But I know they did utilise this den for probably a good 3 or 4 months before we left in 2011. So it's nice to see they are utilising it again. And judging by sorry, there was a question coming through, I think from, was it Irene? Oh, Catherine. Catherine, welcome on board, Catherine. And saying in all the wildlife programs that you've seen, you've never seen hyenas drinking. Do they actually drink? And yes, they do. They do drink, but again, I suppose it's like a lot of other nocturnal creatures. You don't tend to see them drinking. They'll drink once the sun goes down. And obviously, a lot of the footage would have been caught during the day, when it's easier to film, and obviously you get the nice colours and everything. And unfortunately, that's where we've kind of got a bit of a wrong impression about some species, because of the technology and the limitations of the filming. A lot of the time they couldn't film at night, and they couldn't get any decent footage at night until, I suppose, fairly recently with the technology advances. And that really opened up a whole new realm and understanding of animal behaviour as well. Like I was saying this morning, hyenas have this bad press that they're supposed to scavenge a lot from other animals, especially lions. And yes, they do scavenge, but they're also very good hunters in their own right. And what they found was that the videos that were being taken of the hyenas trying to scavenge from the lions, they missed maybe part of the story, the beginning story, where the hyenas actually made the kill, and the lions scavenged just as much from the hyenas in those certain areas. I think certainly up in the north of Africa, they were actually scavenging just as much, and the hyenas were actually trying to get their kill back, and that happened on several occasions apparently. So I think it's probably just because we've just never been at the right place at the right time to see hyenas drinking. I'd say they will be active occasionally out during the day, especially if they're hungry, but usually they're like this. They wait out the heat, and once it cools off they'll start getting active and move off, and that's when the little one will go back in the den. It won't go out on the foraging excursions. The adult female will go off and look for food, and probably the sub-adult will go with her, or it might go off by itself. It is old enough, but it might go with her. So they might hunt together or on their own. And as I say, they will scavenge. We have seen on a number of occasions them stealing leopard kills if the leopards haven't got it in the tree fast enough. But I think they have had a bit of a bad press as well, unfortunately. But just before the question came through, I was just going to say, judging by what the cub was doing this morning, and the fact that it's on its own, suggests that it is possibly a female. The females may give birth to 2, sometimes 3 cubs, but the rivalry between especially the female cubs is extremely strong, and they quite often commit siblicide. The one will kill the other, or at least stop them getting to the teats for milk, and the more dominant one will survive, and the subordinate quite often will suffer and die. And the fact that it's on its own, and it was quite boisterous playing around this morning tends to suggest it is most likely a little female. As I say, I was really hoping it might just make another appearance. Did we have a better view from the other side, do you think, of Mum? Is that the same? Yeah. Oh, there is a little bit of movement there. No, that's Mum, putting her head up. She's starting to get a little bit irritated by flies, so she might just move. Maybe we'll get a better view of her. If she moves, maybe Pup will move. I think actually it's Pup to the right. I keep seeing movement just in the bottom of the right of the screen. Yeah, down there. I haven't worked out who it is, if it is the Pup or not. Oh, yeah, I think it is. Is it just coming out from behind the bush? Let's see if I can roll back a bit. And if you're just joining us, welcome on board on our live safari here in South Africa. And we have a baby hyena who's probably about a month old, spotted hyena. And you might be wondering why it's black. And they only develop the spots when they're about 4 months old, so that gives us a good time frame to work with. But there's a little hole, and that's where it's actually sitting above the hole at the moment. But they'll spend a lot of time there if the adult's not around the den. And they'll actually go and sit in the hole, and they excavate a small passage right at the back of the hole so they can go and hide, and that black will obviously help them to blend in with the black background as well, so it actually camouflages them from any predators that might be around. It's actually gone up the mound, hasn't it? No, it's come back down again. There we go. Yeah, go and see Mum. Oh, some name suggestions. The buffalo is actually just moving to our left here. I think that's what our hyenas are having a look at. So a few names. Theodora, after Teddy. Some of you might remember the last litter that we were following. And there was little Teddy that Sebastian named. I think a lot of people are saying Nala. That's quite fitting. I think there was a Simba there as well. And a Heidi. There was a Heidi there. There we go. I knew if we were patient enough we'd get to see it. Oh, there's jet black, hey. That really is a very young pup. No, you can't go after buffalo. Yeah, this one's definitely going to be a character. So the temperature is dropping, baby's starting to get rested. I'm going to just try and move back where we were, because if it's starting to get a little bit more mobile, we might see it a little bit better. Looks like the other. Woken up of adult, and I think it could be her that's actually giving that low call again. Ooh. And it's this interaction which makes me think this is a past cub from the female. There you go, you can see the sloping back that I was telling you about earlier. The heavy front, and they've actually got one of the most powerful bites in the animal kingdom. Those wide cheekbones and the very pointed head actually allows them to have that enormous bite power. And remember, they are the caretakers of the bush. They will take bone, and they're able to crunch bone that even lions aren't able to eat. Gonna come and say hello, little one. So I think the general consensus is Nala, unless anybody has any other suggestions. But it'd be quite fitting for this little one. It's very, very cute. Okay, so there's Sabrina as well, maybe after Sebastian, and Theodora again, or Dora for short, after Dora the Explorer. Little Theodora sounds quite cute as well. I think it's up against Theodora and Nala. See if there's a consensus there. But actually, she does look like a Dora to me. Well, I can't think of a better way to end the day watching a family of hyenas with such an adorable little baby, which I'm sure will have a name for her very soon. But thank you very much for watching here on WildEarth and being part of the live safari. I am just so excited to have been able to share this with you, and I really hope you have enjoyed it this afternoon. And I hope this weather is going to stay with us. I hope it's not going to be too miserable tomorrow. Hopefully these clouds burst, have the rain tonight, or they're having a nice sunny day tomorrow. But thank you very much for joining us here. From myself and from Brian and the sub. It's in final control. Thank you very much. And thanks for all your questions. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye now.